You look relieved to have that over. How do you think they performed?
They performed beautifully. Beautifully. I couldn't have asked for a better performance from them. Some of them are so young. Sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional here.
It was very, very nice being out on the stage. It's my first time to do it.
It was scary, but then we got good comments. I thought they were going to tell us we were flat and all that stuff. But they actually said nice things.
Our next choir from the Royal London Borough of Greenwich. It's Blackheath Preparatory School.
Been entering, I think, for 3 years, and I did hope that we'd be in with a chance this year because I felt their singing was sweet.
I bet anything that there's not going to be a single moment of silence on the bus. Everyone's just going to be literally screaming, singing, chatting the whole time.
But the most important thing is to enjoy our singing.
We work really well as a team, and Mrs. Graham's really inspiring. It's not just Miss Graham pushing us, it's ourselves pushing ourselves. It's when we go home and we practice all the time.
We will be singing Down by the Riverside.
It was about people in the slave trade singing about their world that they had been promised, and it always cheers everyone up because it cheers them up, so it cheers us up. This is one of Mrs. Graham's most famous funny warm-ups, and it goes like this.
We need to give it, 150% while they're up there singing and just go for it really and enjoy it.
Blackheath Preparatory School. So Laura, a spiritual as opposed to a pure hymn, but was it a good choice?
Yeah, I definitely really enjoyed that. Kind of made me want to dance a little bit. I love the arrangement. I think it's always a bit difficult sometimes when we have those rhythmic things. You gave it so much energy, and that really came across. You can really feel that you enjoy singing and enjoying those parts. But it's always, I wonder what would happen if in rehearsal you spent a little bit more time just really thinking about getting those together so that you're really working well together.
Susie, what did you think of that performance?
Well, I love hearing unbridled singing in young voices, but be very careful that it doesn't get too chesty. So maybe start developing ways in which they can get that energy and volume without using the chest voice too much.
Gareth, you know what it's like trying to get the best out of a choir. How did Blackheath do?
I thought lots of this performance was excellent. Very disciplined, very engaged with your singing. But I think if you find that slightly lighter dynamic, that the groove will start to come. It's the hardest thing in the world is to get that feeling funky but still light. So lots to commend in that, but just a couple of points for you to work on.
Thank you, Blackheath Preparatory School.
That must have gone well, did it?
They worked really hard and they had that energy. That was the main thing.
What was it like being out there on stage?
Bit scary, but it was really fun in the end.
And what would it mean to you to get into the final then?
Just like everything.
Our next choir are ready to go. This consistently high-quality choir were winners of the competition in 2008 and they made the semi-finals in 2012. It's Linley Junior School from Huddersfield.
Singing is incredibly important at school here. In fact, half the children in the school sing in one of the school's 4 choirs.
The Linley Choir is very energetic because Mrs. North, our choir teacher, is very motivating.
I think a lot of it comes from my own passion, and hopefully I can then share that enjoyment and love of the singing and the words and everything with them. Praise My Soul, the King of Heaven. We chose it at our wedding a few years ago, me and my husband.
It's got lots of different dynamics in it, and it's got a very, very, very large range of notes.
When it's saying fathers being in distress, you'd be kind of feeling sad. But when it gets to the choruses, you've got a feeling of joy and happiness.
Praise my soul, the King of heaven, to his feet thy tribute bring, ransomed, healed, restored, forgiven, who like me his praise should sing. Praise him, praise him, praise him, praise him, praise the everlasting King. Praise him for his grace and favor to our fathers in distress. Praise him still the same forever, slow to chide and swift to bless. Praise him, praise him, praise him, praise him, glorious in his faithfulness. Father, like he tends and spares us, when our feeble frame he knows, in his hands he gently bears us, rescues us from all our foes. Praise him, praise him, praise him, praise him, widely as his mercy flows. Angels help us to adore him, ye behold him face to face. Sun and moon bow down before him, dwellers all in time and space. Praise him, praise him, praise him, praise him, praise with us the God of grace.
Linley Junior School. Susie, a very familiar hymn and a well-drilled choir. What did you make of it?
That unison first verse was one of the nicest and best sung hymns I've heard. The subtlety of the way you express the language, it just sort of brought each word to life. And when you repeat a text, you got a new energy to it. And that's something I think is really difficult to achieve without going overboard. When you split into two parts, it just needed a bit more fullness, a bit more richness. And similarly, in the last verse, the melody needed to be a bit more robust.
Gareth, the choirs get one song, one chance to shine. Did they?
They certainly did, although I'm terrified to say anything negative because I'm aware that they're very noisy. Your families probably could make a very good choir as well, I suspect. As Susie said, that first verse was absolutely astonishing, and we all nodded as you then went into the second verse and there was a change of colour. It's a bit of a cliche now in choir circles, but 2 ears, 1 mouth. You must listen really, really carefully, and it's very tempting when you're singing in parts to get louder to try and bolster everyone's confidence. And what you need to do actually, if anything, is just soften off and really make sure that you're absolutely together. It just came apart ever so slightly at the end, tuning-wise, but other than that, I thought it was particularly assured.
Laura?
Wow. Yeah, I feel like you guys have said everything. Your tone together, the way you sing, that opening first verse was just so beautifully and effortlessly sung. I was captivated from beginning to end, and that's quite a big thing, so thank you.
Thank you, Linley Junior School.
How do you think you performed out there?
Yeah, I think we performed really well. We gave it our all, so we get through and perform as well as we can in the final. But if we don't, well, we've got here, which is really good in the first place.
It's my first time being here and I really loved it.
We hope we've done enough to get to the final. If we haven't, we'll try again.
We've just had a choir from Yorkshire. Next, we're going to hear one from the Northwest, from the ancient city of Chester. It's the Queen's Lower School.
When I was told we got through to the semi-finals, I didn't believe it. I said, you must be lying, you're just playing a joke.
Make me a channel of your peace.
Make me a channel of your peace is a prayer, and so when you've got to understand when you're singing it, what you're singing about.
I think it's popular with young choirs, or at least they can convey the sense of the words because of the simplicity of the tune.
I think of Smooth, it could be a lullaby, and everything's really nice, and I really want to be kind and everything.
Woo! And again, that's brilliant. Breathe in. And
Mrs. Collett's weird, wacky and wonderful.
Okay.
She's never angry, she's always happy and bouncy. Kind of crazy, just a bit.
2, 3. Where are you going? Where are you going?
Well, music, I always feel, has to be fun.
And what do we have to remember about the first line? Tell me, Esther.
In early teaching, I think it's very important to tell stories through music and for children to be able to express themselves in rhyme and song and chant. And just love it.